line on the bar, which opens at 6, and I think that's about it. Any questions? Got it all? That was for me. Just put a line through it when they come, so you can cross us off if you like. No, you'll be.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Eddie.
I've
How
got
are
something
you?
for you. That's I photographed this from another one, you see. Like. 47.
I would be on there.
Oh, my.
The headmaster's Terry.
Do you remember me?
To slip on.
Yeah. Are you Oh, here she is!
There they are.
town had reacted to the death of the princess. So I came in on my bike, as I normally do when it's not very important, crash helmet pulled down over the hair. Up in the parlour, sitting there waiting for the radio to arrive, in walks this young man, Mr. Diggins, one with a lamp in his hand, one with a camera, and I went, I was told this was radio.
That's what I say in my oh dear, looks like we're on video here.
I tell my granddad, you know, he's like somebody like he's well thought of. You know, I said to one.
If you're into Billy Bunter and Tom Brown's school days, then you'll be into school reunions. This Eastwood school reunion is the reunion of reunions. School chums from all age groups from the early 1990s to 1979 are meeting here in Colchester's Town Hall.
I missed the bus, and I just couldn't get here any quicker. Is that?
It's my very great pleasure to welcome you all here this evening to this grand reunion. The idea for this reunion came about 3 years ago, and about half a dozen of us got together in 1994, just 1 year, those who attended the school between 1960 and 64. And we got together about 35 ex-pupils from all over the place, and we had our first reunion in this building, but down on the lower floor. And it was so popular, and we had so many people phoning up from different age groups saying, can we come, that the idea was born for this great reunion. It's open to everybody who attended the school, and that's from 1908 to 1968. And we've got all age groups represented here, which we'll find out a bit more later on. Now, I do have one apology, if I can just read this out to start with. Did anybody attend Eastwood between 1954 and 58? Yeah. Put your hands up. Do you remember anybody called John Young? Some of you do. Well, John Young is in the Middle East. He's working in Oman. He sends his apologies, and if anybody knows him, he'd like to hear from you and to correspond perhaps by writing. I've got his address here, and he's asked me specifically to mention that to you. Now, you're all very special here, but we do have some extra special guests that I'd like you to introduce to you now, and I'd like you to give these a very warm welcome as they come on. Now, first of all, I'd like to introduce our host, if you like, for the evening, the Mayor of Colchester, Jenny Stevens, and her husband, John. Now, Jenny, are you an Eastwood girl?
No!
What school did you go to, Jenny?
Wilson Marriage!
I don't know about the girls, but what I remember of Wilson Marriage, they usually slaughtered us about 20-0 at football. But anyway, Jenny, we're lovely to have you here. We'll speak to you later on, but if you'd like to take a seat with John
Over that side?
at the far end.
Yeah.
Now, many of you still live round about Colchester. but some of you have travelled many miles to get here. I can see Mary Gentry in front of me. You're from Rugby. We've got people who've come from Cheltenham, Manchester and so forth, but we've got one or two people who've travelled just a little bit further than that. And I'd like you to give them a big welcome as well. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you to Alan Bowes. Does anybody remember Alan? Alan Bowes? Give him a round of applause, come on.
Hi Patrick.
Okay, Alan. Now Alan, can you just tell us when you attended East Ward?
1955 through to 1960.
Does anybody here remember Alan? You've got some supporters out there. Where do you live now, Alan?
I live in Dallas, Texas.
How long have you been there, Alan?
15 years. Home of the Dallas Cowboys.
There we are. Well, thanks a lot, Alan.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Somebody else from America attended East Ward School between 57 and 61, and her name is Pauline Stratton now. Come in, Pauline. Pauline, let's see if you're speaking to that.
Okay.
Pauline, can you tell us where you're from?
From Portland, Oregon.
And how long have you been there, Pauline?
For 33 years.
Brilliant. And why have you travelled back now? Was it to come here or family visit?
Well, mostly it was to come here, but I like to come every 3 years, so it was combined with a family visit also.
Okay, thank you, Pauline.
Thanks.
Now, when I was at East Ward, we had the family of Barnums, something they know, and they've all been BBs, weren't they? Well, we've got one of the Barnums joining us tonight, and that's Beryl, from, well, I'll tell you where she's from herself. Beryl?
I think you missed one.
All right. Now, Beryl, your surname, is it Drohan?
Yes.
Drohan.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell us where you live now, Beryl?
I now live in Guelph, Ontario, Canada.
And you've been there for how long?
Actually, it's my 40th anniversary of leaving Colchester on the 21st of October.
I've been there 40 years. Okay, Beryl? That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it's Saturday time. Who remembers Peter Horrigan? Come in, Peter. Last but by no means least. Sorry about that, Peter.
Hi.
Peter, so when did you attend East Ward, Peter?
55, 59.
Hey, and where are you living now?
Dallas, Texas.
So another one from Texas. Well done, Peter, nice to see you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody here who attended East Ward between 1939 roughly and 1942? Do you remember, now listen, do you remember any teachers called Gordon Dobson and Joan Humbury? Well, I'm going to introduce them to you, they're with you tonight. Do you want to come on? This is Joan and Gordon Dobson. You stand right there, Joan. Get a good applause. Now, Gordon was the music teacher, you may remember. I think he did a bit of PE, PT, and Joan was also PT. Now, is there anybody here? Can you put your hands up if you were at the school during the war, Second World War? Were any of you evacuated? Do you remember who took you on your evacuation? Do you remember who took you on your evacuation trip? It was Joan and Gordon. Joan
do you remember about that period when the children from East Ward were evacuated? You need to speak right into it. Okay, can we just have a bit of quiet?
Well, is that all right? Can you hear? Well, the evacuation was done right close.
Can we just keep it down just for a moment while Joan's trying to speak? Okay, Joan.
Right. Well, the evacuation of Colchester, of the school children in Colchester, was done in a great hurry and not very well prepared, I may say. Probably quite not too bad at this end, but when we arrived in Stoke-on-Trent, they certainly weren't ready for us. And the children had a bit of a culture shock because they were going from a nice East Anglian town and into the potteries, and it was something quite surprising. But they were all pretty well behaved, I have to say.
Lovely, Joan. Thank you very much indeed. And if you'd like to sit there. Remember Laurie Scott, who was a metalwork teacher. Laurie?
Okay, Laurie, sit straight down. That's it. Thank you.
Peter Lewis. David Grayson. And does anybody remember the art teacher, Richard Morris? All of you metalwork plants, you must remember Mr. Spall. No, come here.
Okay, just speaking to...
Now, Peter, so you did metalwork at East Ward.
That's quite right. Yes.
You also were something to do with worked on the sports committee, I believe. What was that about?
Schoolboy football.
Schoolboy football. Is there anybody here who was at East Ward, boys, 1947-48? Were you in the football team? Have we got anybody in the football team from 47 to 48? Because I believe you won a trophy that year. Is that right? Well, we've got a picture of you up here, but we've also got the shield that you won.
Hold this up.
You remember this?
Do you remember this look? That was probably the only year that East Ward did beat everybody else. Now, although this next guest was not the teacher, I'm sure you'll remember Brenda Nevard. Brenda? And lastly, but by no means least, he may have been your geography teacher, depending when you went to school, Mr. Jones. Now, if I could just have a little bit of quiet again, because you don't want to miss this. Charles Jones has volunteered to give a reply on behalf of all the teachers. So give him your attention for a few minutes, please.
Yes, you can speak right into this one.
Right, thank you. I'll come there.
Yeah, this one. No, this one.
No, it's this one. Thank you very much. I don't know why I've been bulldozed, if you like, into talking for my colleagues on the staff. They're all capable of talking for themselves. However, perhaps I may say something about the school, which first saw the light of day, if you like, in 1908, when the Mayoress of Colchester, Mrs. Wilson Marriage, opened the school. And evidently the whole of the local council were there, and they were very pleased with the building, which incidentally cost £10,000 and had every facility for the children, including a field for agricultural work, which I think was rather good. I think I also ought to say something about Patrick. When he was thinking about the old meeting we had 4 years ago, I think he decided we must have one which took in all the pupils of East Ward from 1908 onwards. Anyway, those of you who could come, and thanks to Peter and his people who helped him, you are all here tonight, and jolly good luck to you all. You all look as young as you all did. And over him. The councillors at that time were very pleased with the school, and Mr. Alderton was the headmaster, and he was given every wish to produce a very good school, which of course the other headmasters also did, and East Ward became a very good school with good discipline and a good standard of work for all the pupils. They were wished every success, and of course over the years they did have their successes. I think this school, East Ward, was one of the first schools to take what was then O levels and the CSE S as it was in those days. It was certainly one of the schools to do that, and I think it was the first. After Mr. Alderton, Mr. Southgate took over, and he stayed until around about 1939, 1940, when Mr. Searle, he came in around about 1940. I'm informed that Mr. Searle was the youngest headmaster to be appointed in Essex at that time. I can't confirm this. Mr. Searle and his staff gained a very good reputation for the school, and the standard of work was excellent, the discipline was excellent, and I think all the pupils enjoyed themselves whilst they were at the school. However, when I was being interviewed in 1955 for the job, Mr. Searle and I think Miss Eileen Blaxill, who was one of the governors of the school, said, "Oh, you won't be here long, you're going to have a new school." Little did we know that it would be 10 years from 1955 to 1965 at least before the school was built, and our headmaster, Mr. Searle, would not be the headmaster of the new school. Now, what had happened to cause this? A private school called Ensley, and Mr. Williams, the headmaster there, went bankrupt. And the borough took over the school, and a new school called Sir Charles Douglas was going to be built. And Mr. Whiting became head of that new school. Mr. Searle and all the staff of East Ward had their contracts cancelled, and Mr. Searle was dismissed. He was told he could have a job with the council, but not as a headmaster, which I thought was a rather shabby trick to play on him after promising him a new school for so many years. However, he took a job as a peripatetic master, teaching disadvantaged and other children who needed special needs. All staff of East Ward had their contracts cancelled, and they had to apply for posts at the new school. Needless to say, it's rather interesting to note that all Ensley staff were promised a post in the new school, whereas the pupils and staff from Eastward were not. They had to apply for a job. I do believe that the ethos of Old Eastward and the discipline and the standard of teaching in that school carried on in your lives for many years. Many of you took over posts overseas and took posts of strong responsibility, and many others all did extremely well in their lives thanks to the ethos of the Eastward School. And I wish you all the very best in the future, knowing that the ethos and the work done at Eastward carries on in your life. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Charles. I think you did well trying to make yourself heard there at some times. We'd like to move on. We've just got a couple of more announcements to make for you. I notice some of you are wearing your medals. Hands up who's got a medal on. Now, when I went to Eastward School, when I attended Eastward, we called these medals the School Honours Medal. But some of you may have called it something else. This is the Carnivite Award. Now, I'm indebted to Jeff Wiseman. Is Jeff here? Jeff Wiseman, sitting down on my right-hand side, who gave me or brought me a Russian newspaper. And Jeff said to me, what is the connection between the School Honours Medal and the Russian newspaper? Now, apparently, the Stakhanovite Award was named after a Russian coal miner, Alexei Stakhanov, who broke all records in Russia for hand-hewing coal. And he was awarded the equivalent, if you like, of the Purple Heart. And he became a national hero. And in the early 1940s, Mr. Searle recognised that this man was a hero, if you like, and he decided to use him as a role model for students at East Ward for merit and achievement. And so was born the Stakhanovite Award. Thank you to Jeff for that, and I've got your paper which I'll give back to you. Finally, and if I can just have your attention please for a few more minutes. Can we just quieten down just for a few more minutes, please? There's people here from all age groups. I want to find out roughly what age groups are represented. Now, if you went to East Ward in the 1960s, can you just raise your hands, please? 1960s. Okay. 1950s. That's roughly about 50-50. 1940s. Oh yes, look, I think the 40s have overtaken everybody. The 1930s. We're quieting down a little bit, but we're still several. Let's see if we can go back any further. Can you just keep it down, please? Who went to East Ward in the 1920s? There are about 10 of them, and I'm going to dare to see if I can go back any further. If you went to East Ward before 1920, can you put your hand up, please? Right, we've got... Is there a couple of ladies that... If you went to East Ward before 1920, we've got 2 people here. Right, 2 people. Now, I want you to bear with me because I want to find out who the oldest person is here. I don't know how to do this. Who was born before 1914? We've got 3. Am I right? There's 3. All right, we'll have to go further. Who was born before 1913? Keep your hands up if you were born before 1913, before 1912. The lady's making the mic. Yes, she was. Before 1911. So when were you born? What year were... Okay, the lady here, what year were you born, please? 1909. Can anybody beat 1909? Well, I think we can safely say that you are the oldest ex-pupil of East Ward here. Born in 1909, you must have started there and went there during the First World War, and we'd like to give you a little present tonight. And can I ask Sylvia to give you this bouquet? The lady next to the lady in the green, Sylvia. Thank you very much. It would be nice to get a picture of the oldest pupil with the youngest one, but perhaps we could do that later. We are having a grand raffle draw this evening. If I can just have your attention just for a few more minutes at the back. We're having a grand raffle draw, and the idea of that draw is to raise some money so we can buy something as a permanent memorial for all of you. And we're thinking of having a couple of nice seats, benches in the town with a nice brass plaque on for the people of East Ward. Now we're going to be selling raffle tickets, and we're drawing the raffle at 10 o'clock. We want you to give generously, and we have some super prizes. And to tell you about those, I'm going to ask Barry Rothery and Teresa Cooper to come over. Barry, we've got 3 prizes on offer. Can you tell us what prize number 3 is, please? Shout.
Yes, and the third prize, remember, this is just the third prize, is a 3-course a la carte dinner for 2 at the Red Lion Hotel in the Parliament restaurant. And that includes a bottle of wine to go with the meal.
So that's not bad for third. That's third prize. Who's going to... Now the second prize, Teresa's holding that up. What is that, Barry?
The second prize is a CD micro system. It has remote control, and it's a really nice prize.
Okay, thank you, Barry. And the first prize is?
Wow. First prize. First prize is 1 night for 2 people staying at the Great Northern Hotel in London, plus 2 tickets to see Starlight Express. Now we do have a date on this one, and the date is the 16th of January. So there's plenty of time for the winner to sort that out. So remember, it's a night in a hotel for 2 people, plus a visit to see Starlight Express. Thank you.
Now Barry and Teresa will be circulating and selling tickets in about 15 minutes' time. All I've got left to do is just outline what's happening. The buffet at the back of the hall will be opening in a few moments' time. Can I ask you, please don't all rush at once. The buffet will be open for about 2 hours. They're serving food all the time. So don't try and all go at once. We are also opening up the grand jury room downstairs. So if you'd like to get out of the rush, go down 1 floor to the grand jury room, and you can have a nice sit down in peace and quiet. Don't forget also the exhibition, which is on display here. There's lots of old photographs. I'll guarantee most of you will appear on these photographs.
On behalf of all the people who are here, the people who came the long distance travel for me was pretty easy. I just got on a plane in Dallas and got off in London, and that was it. I've finished. What it did take was these people like Patrick and some of the others, too many of them, I'm sure, who made this all possible for all of us, and it made it a great time for all of us. I know I talked to Patrick on the phone and 1 or 2 other people, and I think these guys need a hand to say how grateful we are, and then we can get it again in 2, 3 or 5 years' time.
You must be one of the furthest travellers for this evening's event. Where have you come from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Why did you move out from Dallas if you went to Eastward School?
I guess it was money and the weather. The life is something else, completely different to anything we have here. And I thought, I'll give it 2 years, give it a try, see what happens, and if I don't, I'll have to come back. But everything has turned out real well, better than I ever could have expected. I'm married to an American woman, and I don't know, it's just like you see in the movies, I guess.
Alan, when did you leave East Ward? What year?
1960.
1960, and did you take with you GCSEs or GCEs or what?
Yeah, we were, I'm not sure, we weren't the first, but one of the first to do the RSAs, GCEs at the time, and we done them. 1 or 2 other guys here, I noticed, we were one of the first to do that.
And what was your ambition? What did you want to do?
I don't know. I thought at one time it would be interested to get into something like banking or something like that, but that didn't happen. And from there I went to Colchester Lathe Company and spent some time there, and spent some time at Woods Fans before going over to the States.
Len Tucker, what years were you at Eastward School?
1935 to 38.
And who were your teachers?
Farrow, Mary Turner. Oh, the other bloke nearly had a nervous breakdown. Honest.
What were your favourite subjects, Len? What did you like to do?
Football.
Was it football? Was there a playing field there at the time?
No, we used to try to go up to the Harwich Road school, infant school. There was just the playground and the garden plots at the school.
What about the prefabs? Were they there then? No, just the brick building.
The brick building and the science lab. The science building, which was a new building compared with the old building.
Twins that were at Eastward, Colin and Mick Wass. What sort of era was it?
1958 to 1963.
Is it really? Because you were a local lad, weren't you?
Yes, we only lived 34 paces from the front of Eastward School. We used to be late prefects and come in late because we only lived across the road.
When you say you were prefects, what prefect duties did you do?
We were the late prefects, and we were also prefects for break time. We used to pop home, pinch the cakes out of mum's oven and take them back at lunchtime or break time. And not a good example, I might add.
And this was the Grinstead Road entrance, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
Because you were a good little choir boy as well, weren't you?
Yes, Paul.
Yes. At St Andrew's Church, is that
yes,
right?
Paul, I was. So was Mick.
So Mick, what happened to you after you left school then?
Well, for the first 6 years I had a job down at Spottiswoods and Ballantyne down in Hawkins Road, and then in 1968 I joined the London Fire Brigade and as a firefighter, and I was a firefighter up in London for 6 years, and then I transferred to the Essex County Fire and Rescue Service, and I retired last year in September after just under 28 years.
What are your memories of Eastward School? Got some stories and tales you could tell?
Well, loads of stories, and obviously the tape probably wouldn't be long enough for me to tell them all. They go on and on. It's a wonderful school, great memories. I was in the higher echelon because I was like a prefect, and when you're a prefect you got away with murder. I'd like to mention the name of Mr. Howarth, the woodwork master, who used to choose all the prefects, and Jazz, his name was Jazz Howarth, the woodwork master. Bulldog Jones, I was in his class. I remember the brutality by Mr. King. and the odd things about Mr. Bailey, who tried to commit suicide on numerous occasions. Mr. Herbert, the PE teacher. Miss Lord, who recently died, I believe. Vic Lomas, I was in his class for the last year and a half, 2 years at school. Wonderful memories.
And did you do all the homework they set, or didn't they ever set any?
Yeah, you had to, because you had a fear factor, so you had to do it.
We're just peering over, Maureen and Susan. Let's start with you, Maureen. Tell me the years you were at Eastward School.
5. It's 55 to 60.
What sort of school was it? Was it a rough school? Was it a disciplined school? What did you think it was?
It was nice. Discipline, wasn't it? Yes.
What sort of subjects did you like to do?
I think I liked history best.
And who was your history teacher?
Miss Lord.
Oh, it was Ruth Lord herself?
Yes.
Who was the headmaster?
Mr. Searle.
I used to like cookery and needlework. Yeah, nothing much.
Who did the cookery for you?
Mrs. Peacock.
And where was that in the school?
The cookery. That was there by the playground. That was opposite Mr. Herbert's class.
Well, Colin Songer, you were sort of my age group, weren't you?
That's right, yeah. I was at Eastward from 61 to 66, in fact.
And what did you do when you left school?
I basically applied for a job and I worked in London and commuted to London for 8 years until I got married, and then in fact I moved away from the town in 73 and have lived away ever since.
Is your secret that you work for British Rail?
Yes, it is, except it's no longer British Rail, you must understand.
So what do you do now?
I work for an organisation, Rail Freight Distribution, which is on the point of being owned by an American company, Wisconsin Central. And that's really it. I was basically the same employer since I left school.
Well, Pauline Stratton, you must be again one of the furthermost travellers here tonight. Where are you from?
Yes, I think I was. I'm from Portland, in Oregon.
Why have you come tonight? Why have you come tonight?
Well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You know, in the United States, they have these about every 5 years. They have class reunions. So, you know, I get pretty envious of everybody over there being able to do this. So, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. Plus, my family still lives here, so it's nice to combine.
What years were you at Eastward School?
In 1957 to 61.
And who were the teachers that you remember?
Oh, Mr. Jones was my teacher. And I like him a lot better now than I did then, let's say that.
Who were you, Barry Sadler? You were head boy.
Same year.
What year?
About 1963. 62, would it? 62, 63.
The old brain cells are going on.
Obviously a significant part in my career.
How did you become head boy?
Rivalry.
I think I was the biggest thug in the school, actually, so I think it was more on brawn than anything else.
He was good at woodwork.
Also, we used to attend Eastward Youth Centre in them days, which was, you know, good at night.
When was the youth centre held? Was it every night during the week? Or?
Every night, yes. Yeah.
And what did they do?
Various things. They had a football team. We used to play on a Saturday. On a Friday, there'd be hockey, all manner of things, really.
Was it a disciplined school, or was it an easy come, easy go?
No, I think there was a certain amount of discipline. If you towed the line, you was okay. If not, you got the slipper or the cane or whatever come to hand.
Were you ever caned or slippered?
Once.
Who by?
Mr. Searle.
Mr. Searle himself, so you must have done something pretty wrong.
Not really, we went in the girls' playground. Playing football.
Play football in the girls' playground?
Yeah, and they took exception to that, and we got the cane for it.
Michael Ladbrook, what era are you of Eastward?
48, 52.
Whereabouts did you live, Mick?
Parsons Heath.
Right, so you were in the catchment area?
Yeah, very much so.
What were your favourite subjects?
Don't really think I had any favourite subjects at the time. Probably the crafts, woodwork, metalwork.
Who was your teacher?
For woodwork was Mr. Howarth, and Mr. Scott was the metalwork master.
Jean, when were you at Eastward School?
39 to 40. Well, I didn't get evacuated, but Phyllis did. You know.
Why didn't you get evacuated?
My mother wouldn't let me go away.
Where did you live?
Dilbridge Road.
Ah. Were there any bombs that hit your area?
No, but there was one way off in Wilson Marriage Road. Yeah, in Mr. Pushman's garden.
What was school like during the war? Did you have to do air raid duty?
Yes, we had to go down to the shelter if there was a siren or anything. Yeah.
Where was the shelter?
I think that was in the field behind. I'm not too sure now.
Do you know how many it took?
No, I haven't got a clue.
So did you have to do rehearsals and practices in case?
Well, yes, we had to go do that. Yes. Yeah.
What happened in school? Was there a whistle or something?
No, I think that was the bell. You know, that was a different. I don't know whether that went off 2 or 3 times, but there was a bell. That's all I know.
Did they give you a tin hat?
No, nothing like that.
What about a gas mask?
Oh yes, we had those. Yeah.
Were any lessons done in the air raid shelter?
No, not usually. Teachers used to ask us questions, but we didn't actually do anything down there. You know.
Here, Phyllis Nichols, you were evacuated. So where were you at? You were at school, were you? At Eastward?
Yes, Eastward, and I went to Stoke-on-Trent, Hanley.
So what happened during the evacuation? Were you just given a letter or told that you were going?
We were told your mother and father had to sign a paper, and you just went, and then you went in a big room like this, and people said, you know, I left them. Me and my brother had to keep together, and we went to 120 Bucknell New Road, Hanley, Stoke-on-Trent.
Do tell me though, Phyllis, how were you transported up there? Was it by train?
Train.
So where did you get that train?
Down North Station.
Well, Brenda Nevard was secretary at the school.
That's right.
What
I
year
was.
were you secretary? What years?
1948 to when was it? 71.
Who was the headmaster?
Mr. Searle.
All the time?
All the time, yes.
A very strict, white-haired gentleman,
Yes.
if I remember.
Yes, he was.
Brenda, what were your duties then? What did you used to have to do?
Well, I did everything really, you know, all the secretarial work and dog's body, in other words.
Joan Brotherton, you were Joan Fox, were you?
I was.
Yeah, what years were you at Eastwood School?
September 40 till December 43.
And what happened during the war?
Don't know, they sent me to Kettering.
You went to Kettering, did they?
Oh, I was evacuated, yeah. I only stayed 2 months, and then my dad came and got me back. And
What years were you at Eastwood?
oh goodness, got to work this out now. 57. I can't remember.
Were your brothers older or younger?
No, I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest, though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was 57 till 60.
What were your favourite subjects?
Oh, I can't remember now. I've always liked maths and English actually.
And who was your teacher then?
I had Mr. Lewis for maths, Mr. Lomas for English,
Mr. Ward?
Mr. Ward,
Trunky Ward.
and Mr. Jones for geography, Miss Reed for needlework, and I had Miss Lord, but I can't remember what for now.
I think it was for sex education.
Probably.
When did the school journey start and whose idea was it?
I would say it was arranged by Miss Lord and Mr. Ward, and I think about 1950 was the first one.
And what was the idea? Just to get away from school for a week and have a free holiday?
Thank you very much. You know, it was hard work. It really was. No, the object really was to let the children get out of Colchester, youth hostel, and we hope carry on exploring the countryside later on when they left school. Yeah.
The metalwork workshop was in a prefab, wasn't it? Yeah. When did you actually join Eastwood School yourself?
July 1956.
And it was there then, was it?
I took over from Laurie Scott.
And what did you find? A metal workshop that wanted work doing to it, or was it a good workshop?
It was a reasonable workshop for that time. Obviously, one built up more equipment, but nothing like the workshops that were at the new school at Charlie Lucas when that was open.
So what kit did you have? You had an anvil and a forge and quite a lot of gear, didn't you?
2 lathes, 2 anvils, and a double stage forge.
We're talking to Peter Spall about school journeys, the old visit to Scotland. Russell, you went on one of these journeys, just
right.
once or twice or lots of
once, 1966.
Yeah. What sort of journey was it? What happened?
Well, from what I can remember, it was a very slow journey because the old coaches in 66, Sedi Peck's coaches, you know, used to break down with monotonous regularity. And when we finally got there, I think it rained most of the time, but people like Peter Spall and Miss Lord, they worked very hard and they did well for us, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Didn't matter about the weather. We thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it, really.
Let's move that there for a second. So, David Harris, what years were you at Eastwood?
Around about 43 to 46.
And what happened during the last couple of years of the war then?
Not a lot, because the air raids had basically ceased. And all that tremor happened when we were at junior school.
Which was where, up the road?
Which was Grinstead Church School.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
When we used to, when the siren went, we went across the road into a dugout up near the rectory.
Your time though at Eastwood, tell me about a typical day. Registration first thing in the morning? What time did you use to march?
Yes, we had assembly and a prayer and a hymn first thing in the morning. And then off to the first class.
What time did school start?
Well, roughly 9:15.
And you were marched in, were you, or?
Yes, the whistle went, and then you had to assemble in twos. The boys and girls were separate, and it was in order of height. And of course, somebody behind me used to keep pushing me in the back.
I got the cane for smoking in the loo.
Yeah. Where were the loos? Down the left-hand side of the school?
Yes. Yeah. Some little first-year reported us. There was 5 of us, all shared 1 cigarette.
Didn't you ever get slapped round the calf in cookery lessons?
No, I got smacked on the rump by Pat Sach. He had this damn great big black slipper.
Yes. Oh, yes. Hit my ear many a time. Yes.
So what did you do wrong apart from smoking, Janet?
Nothing. I ended up as head girl.
but you were disciplined, Patricia. What did you do wrong?
I was no good at needlework, and my work was put in the dustbin, and that was the end of me with my needlework teacher.
Mr. Morris, art teacher extraordinaire.
Yes, thank you.
When did you join the school at Eastwood?
1953.
What sort of classrooms were they in those days?
I had the converted hall down below, and it was a very good art room for a long time. Rather bigger than the ordinary classroom.
Were there desks or tables or what?
I had tables because it was an art room.
Gordon, tell me the year that you started school at Eastwood.
It was January 39.
What sort of classrooms were they?
Well, to me, pretty much standard, because I'd been teaching before I was qualified in a little church school miles away, because I hadn't got enough money to go to college and I wanted to save up a little bit in the meantime, and the desks were much the same. I only realised with hindsight that they were a bit out of date when I moved.
Your favourite subject, Shirley? What did you like to do?
I liked sports. I liked netball and I liked school altogether. I was very fond
Was
of
there
school.
sort of like the modern version of domestic science, cookery?
Oh yes, cookery, yes, that was good. We had a lady called Mr. Ville for a teacher, and that was very nice.
What sort of things did you use to bake?
Apple dumplings, I remember doing those, yes.
Shirley Woodley's famous apple dumplings?
Apple dumplings, yes.
Margaret and Derek, what year did you both join Eastwood?
1952.
And I was 56.
Were there school uniforms in those days?
Yes,
Do you remember what they were, the colours?
Navy blue and white.
Navy blue and white. Was it compulsory as well, Margaret?
More or less, yes.
I mean, not everybody came from well-to-do families.
That's right. Those who couldn't afford them didn't wear them, you know, but they did like you to wear them if possible. Yes.
One of the famous names of East Ward School is Barnum.
Yes, right.
How many Barnums were there?
There's 8 boys and 1 girl. There were 2, but one, Brenda, died when she was about 15. That's right, I'm the eldest.
You're the eldest?
Yeah, that's right.
What are the names then of all the brothers and sisters?
Oh my God, they're all B's, right? Brian, Bernard, Beryl, Ben, Barry, Beverly, Bruce, Bryn and Baden. And the other girl was Brenda.
Iris, what do you think about this reunion?
Marvellous. I'm glad I came because my husband and I had planned to come and spend the weekend in Colchester, but he died 6 weeks ago. So my son brought me up this evening. So he's good. It really is good.
Where have you come from?
Southend.
Right. And you went to school here though?
1939 to 42, and I was head girl.
Were you? Well, congratulations on that. Tell me about, was there a uniform in your day?
Yes, black and white.
Black and white? What, black blazers?
No, we didn't have blazers. It was the wartime. There was a war on. We had black and white check dresses, black gym suits and white blouses and a tie. It was quite good.
Iris, I must ask you about the Colchester Schoolgirls Hymn. Was this a town-wide competition?
Yes. It was by the local paper. I don't know whether it was a Standard in those days or the Telegraph. You had 2 papers. And our teacher, who was Miss Hunwick in those days, asked us to write a hymn, and that was entered for the competition.
And you won?
Well, we won. I can't remember what we won. Probably something credit to the school, I suppose.
Right, it's time for the raffle draw. And the first ticket drawn will be the first prize. And the first prize, just remind you again, was a night stay for 2 at the Great Northern Hotel and 2 tickets for Starlight Express. And I'm going to ask the Mayor, Jenny Stevens, to draw the first ticket. This is for the first prize.
I do not want this prize. There's a story behind this. Oh, it's all right. Right. It's an orange ticket, number 68. 68.
Volunteer for the second draw. Would you like to? It's a pink ticket. I think it's pink. Number 442. Just check on that, Frank. Yeah, check it out. There we are. Would you like to take it?
Take the next ticket out. Choose the next ticket.
Frank will draw the third ticket. This is for a meal for 2 at the Red Lion Hotel, and the date can be of your choice. And the ticket number is a blue ticket, 162. Okay, well done, Sue. Thank you very much. And there's your third prize.
Very nice, thank you.
Okay, I'll hand you now back to Patrick.
Just to let you know how much we collected £650 tonight. We need about 450 to buy one of these benches and have a proper plaque on it. So we've definitely got one, and we've got some money towards number 2. But we'd also like to make a presentation this evening to our host, the Mayor Jenny Stevens, and I'm going to ask Sylvia Bloomfield and Linda Kingston Jones, Linda Baker, her maiden name, to make a presentation. And it's a cheque for £100 to the charity in your choice.
will make good use of this money. And what a super time you've all had collecting it. It strikes me that tonight has been a tremendous success. And from what I hear, you all want, as of tomorrow, Patrick to start planning the next one.
Now, earlier on tonight, we found out that you are the oldest pupil from Eastward School. Tell me when you actually started to go to school at Eastward. What year was it?
Well, I was about 5 then. That's when the children started nursery, and that's when I went. I was born 1909, wasn't I? So went to school at 5.
So it was 1914 then when you went to school?
When the Second War we evacuated, and we went to Peterborough for a while, and then we went to Ilkley. And then my husband was in the army, you see, and his boss, like, his people lived down in Glastonbury, and they wanted, so they asked my husband if I would go down there and be housekeeper. So we went to Glastonbury and to the end of the Second World War.
Where was the entrance to the school? How did you get into the school? Was it from Grinstead Road?
No. Oh yes, we had to go down Grinstead Road for it. Yes, because I lived in Harwich Road with my parents, you see, so there wasn't far to go really.
What number Harwich Road did you live at?
49.
What was your favourite subject at school?
Oh well, I can't tell you, I don't think. I liked needlework. Yeah.
Who did the needlework with you? Who did the needlework with you? Which teacher was it?
I think that was Miss Turner who did that, wasn't it?
No, Mrs. Miss Wyatt, didn't she take some needlework? I don't know.
Yes, perhaps that was Miss Wyatt.
Can I turn to you, Elsie?
Yeah.
Elsie Butcher.
Yes.
So when did you start at Eastward School?
Well, I was born in 1911, so I imagine I started in 16, because my birthday is at Christmas, you see. So I started in the new year, 16.
Did you live locally to the school?
Yeah, Harwich Road.
Whereabouts?
Number 83, not far off this lady.
And what were your favourite subjects?
Well, I don't know if I had any really. I didn't like history and I didn't like geography.
Was it a very strict school?
No, I didn't think it was, no.
Was it disciplined?
Well, yeah, we all minded us out, you know, different to these days altogether, yeah.
What was it like during the First World War then?
I don't remember anything about it because that was, I started in the middle of it, didn't I? I don't remember anything about the war except my brother was in the army. And I remember him coming home, you know, on leave. That's all I know of it.
Now, when you went into a class, were there desks and chairs or were they tables? What were they?
Desks. So we sat two in a desk.
How many were in the class when you were there? How many in numbers?
Well, I think they were around 50. They were big classes, weren't they?
There was a lot in a class, wasn't there?
Big classes and lots of people in the classes. But the school was just the old brick building. There were none of the prefabs that we saw in recent years.
No.
Do you know how many classes there were around the hall?
There was 7, I think.
And the playing field or a playground?
We had a playground at the back, all tarmac, I suppose.
The gardening, didn't they, up there?
Instead of garden at the top, the boys used to do that.
We've spoken to the eldest person here, 90 years plus. You two must be the youngest. Are you twins?
We are.
Identical?
Yes.
Who was born first?
She was.
By how long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. So, what year were you at Eastwood School?
What was it, 65 to 68 when they closed.
Oh right, so you were the last ever pupils at the school.
Yeah.
Who were your teachers then? First to you, Judith, do you remember the names of the teachers?
Yeah, Miss Lord, Mrs McQueen.
What did she do?
Mrs McQueen, she was actually our form teacher, but she did teach English. Miss Reed did us with needlework, and Miss Lord was our headmistress, whose funeral I went to a few weeks back.
What were your favourite subjects, Gillian? What did you like to do?
Needlework and history.
What did you make in needlework? Did you make clothes or what?
No, cushion covers. That was the place that I actually learned to make cushion covers.
Were they embroidered or what were they?
Yes, they're embroidered.
And were they patterned or
Yes.
what?
Yeah, always done with an iron-on transfer, and I still embroider today.
When the school was closing, was there an air of sadness?
Very, yeah, very, yes.
And what happened on the last day, Judith? Do you remember?
A lot of us cried. Yeah, we did. But we've all stuck, a lot of us have stuck together, a lot of us have carried on through the years, still being mates, and we'll go on being mates.
So, on the last day, was it school as usual, or was it just packing up books and...
No, there was a lot of packing up and finishing, but we did cry a lot, but we have been all mates still all the way through.
Every breath you take, every move you make, every single day, I'll be missing you. Every breath you take, every move you make, every single day, every night and day, I'll be missing you.
Well, I never felt more like singing the blues. I never thought that I'd ever lose your love, dear. Why'd you do me this way? Well, I never felt more like crying all night, 'cause everything's wrong and nothing ain't right without you. You got me singing the blues. Well, the moon and stars no longer shine. Dream is gone, I thought was mine. There's nothing left for me to do but cry over you. Well, I never felt more like running away. Why should I go? 'Cause I couldn't stay without you. You got me singing the blues. Well, the moon and stars no longer shine. The dream is gone, I thought was mine. There's nothing left for me to do but cry over you, right over you. Well, I never felt more like running away. Oh, why should I go? 'Cause I couldn't stay without you. You got me singing the blues. You got me singing the blues. You got me singing the blues.
Thank you very much. Good night.